and welcome to Political Capital. I'm Chris Bishop. We've got it all on the show tonight. Millionaires, a trade unionist and footballers. We'll be taking a look at the controversial multi-million-dollar football match on African soil with the stylists of soccer, Barcelona. But first, the newspapers with a dash of political satire. Starting off with the business day this week, Zuma misses deadline for his legal challenge to avoid prosecution. And apparently, the economic freedom fighters, the opposition party, is turning up the heat on his lawyers by demanding attorney Michael Hulley be ordered to pay back millions in taxpayers' money already spent on Zuma's legal fees. As it stands, the former president will appear at the Durban High Court on June the 8th. SAA losses continue to skyrocket. Apparently 5.7 billion rand at a time when the government is trying to sort out its state-owned enterprises. Apparently it's all down to lower passenger numbers, lower average fares due to increased competition, negative sentiment, fuel costs and higher maintenance costs. Then the Tom Moyane saga. His lawyers weighing options after Ramaphosa snub, according to the Mail and Guardian. Suspended South African Revenue Services Commissioner Tom Moyane's legal team is studying President Cyril Ramaphosa's letter in which he reportedly plays hardball and refuses to agree to any of Moyane's requests, one of which apparently was a tribute to Moyane's service at the Revenue Service. A bit further north now, Zimbabwe to regain breadbasket status, so says the state-owned Herald in Harare. Apparently, the country is trying to get back to be an exporter to the region. This is according to President Emmerson Mnangagwa. We now know how many hectares of land to put the crop for us to have enough food to feed the country. We now know the number of irrigated farms. We also need to have enough food for the nation. Now, finally, remember our interview earlier this week with South African Mining Minister Gwede Mantashe on the amendments to the mining charter.
30% everybody agrees on it. That's not the contest.
Do you think there are any other things in the charter that we'll be looking for?
There are many other things that we look at. For example, many of the issues are formulation that tempers with principles. Let me take, for example, when you talk of a historical disadvantage South African, you begin to add naturalized. It raises suspicions immediately that you are adding a Gupta clause into the charter. We'll discard those things.
Well, our political capital cartoonist, Bonnie Swati, had this take on Minister Mantashe and the mining charter. I think it captures something of the minister's confidence and bombast, plus an idea of the many communities and unions who want a say in the amendments to the mining charter, standing ready behind a fence. Now to one of the big talking points of the week. Spanish champions Barcelona came to Soweto this week to play South African champions Mamelodi Sundowns. It was a controversial game because billionaire Patrice Motsepe paid millions of dollars to get them here. As the fans streamed into the stadium in Soweto, there was a lot of argument about this. Aviwu Matila was there.
I know for a fact that Barcelona is going down today. I know for a fact that Sundowns is going down today. This shame. This, you see, put the. It's saying that he's gonna win.
An unusual soccer dispute. On a cold winter's night, South Africans come out in their thousands to see football stars that they normally see on TV.
It's quite a chilly day here in Johannesburg today, but not even the coldest weather can stop the thousands of avid fans from coming to see the Spanish giants Barcelona face off against the African champions Sundowns.
South African billionaire mining magnate Patrice Motsepe, who also owns Sundowns FC, paid top dollar for this game to be possible. Millions of dollars worth will be on the pitch as FC Barcelona faces off against South African League champions Mamelodi Sundowns. The numbers say it all. FC Barcelona's highest paid players. At the top is Lionel Messi with just under $35 million a year. He is followed by Luis Suarez, who sits at around $20 million. Philippe Coutinho earns $16.5 million and Sergio Busquets earns $12.4 million. Gerard Piqué and Andre Iniesta both earn just over $11 million a year. By contrast, the man who scored the goal for Sundowns, Sibusiso Vilakazi, the Lionel Messi of the team, is worth $950,000. Mainstay Percy Tau only measures up to $1.1 million in value according to Transfer Market. The centre-back, Wayne Arendse, comes in at a mere $235,000. Signs that in African football, it's not all about money. Social media was also abuzz with rumors of how much the mining magnate Motsepe paid to arrange the Barcelona clash. The estimated figure comes to $8.4 million. That's excluding additional costs such as the chartered plane to fly the Barcelona squad and coaching staff out to South Africa. Those in attendance here had mixed emotions over the expenditure.
What Patrice Motsepe did is not okay, because there are some people who are working in mines. They don't get that paid. But he spent 100 million for Barcelona. Those people, they are working hard for him in mines, and you can see there are people who are dying in mines.
South Africa, we're craving for this, to see the big teams coming and playing and understanding where we are in terms of the international scene. But I think it's well worth it.
Nah, I think it's really good, you know. He's showing a lot of interest in South African football, you know. He's got the money, so I think he's doing good, you know what I mean?
It's a little bit unfair to those who don't follow football, but for us football fanatics, it's a question of he's making us get experience of these type of things. I mean, like, if it wasn't of Motsepe, there's a chance that one might die without seeing the likes of Messi, and you know what I mean?
I think he already does so much for South Africa with his money. I mean, he has foundations, he was out in Soweto just the other day supporting churches and schools. So why not just spoil himself and his football club once in a while and let us all have fun?
For most, money wasn't an issue when it came to seeing their favorite football stars.
We are all the way from Kampala, Uganda to support our boy Dennis Onyango.
So it must have cost a lot for you guys to get here. You came to South Africa just for this game?
Yes, we do. We came here just basically to watch this game from Uganda, to see our boy Onyango in the goal live. Yeah.
Against the world is best, Messi.
Both young and old braved the cold Johannesburg night for this game.
It's Barcelona's gonna win! Woo! Hello, Mom.
Okay. I'm a Juve supporter. Barcelona 3, Sundowns 4.
Messi, Coutinho, and Suarez. And Iniesta.
Mostly all of the players, but some of the ones that are on fleek, then I want to see them the most.
Viva Sundowns! Viva Barcelona!
At the end of the night, it was Barcelona who came out as the victors, beating the home side 3-1. Aviwe Mtila for CNBC Africa, Johannesburg.
Well, stay tuned for a little bit more football in the second half. We'll be speaking to one of the leading lights of South Africa's union umbrella, Sdumo Dlamini, Cosatu president. Welcome back here with Political Capital. I'm Chris Bishop. Now in the studio with me now, I have the president of Cosatu, Sdumo Dlamini. Now just to start off with, you saw in the first half, we did a piece on the football. You were at the Barcelona Mamelodi Sundowns game last night. What was the atmosphere like?
Yes, last night I was there. Patrice had organized that I get a ticket, which I really appreciated. And indeed, went there quite enthusiastic. It's a very big game in the country. Barcelona is not a small team. It's a world-class team. We were quite excited to be there. They ambushed us. They scored quick. The first few minutes took our guys by surprise. It was a tough game, but the game was beautiful, honoring Mandela, which was a good thing, really, in the centenary of Nelson Mandela. But it was a tall order for Sundowns.
It looked that way, and 50, 60,000 people there. But a lot of the fans we spoke to last night, as you heard earlier in the show, they were a bit unhappy. There's people were saying that how can Patrice Motsepe, a billionaire, be paying some maybe 100 million rand to bring Barcelona here at a time when workers are struggling to make ends meet.
Yes, well, safe to say that indeed it's not cheap to bring those guys. I'm told that Messi is paid 385,000 a minute. So it's quite expensive. Begging the question you're raising, that given our economic situation and given the plight of the workers in the mines in this country, 100 million and that 4,000 rands that worker earns a month, it's a debate that has got to be focused on.
And talking about mining, earlier this week we were talking to Gwede Mantashe, the mining minister, out in near Klerksdorp. Now, the mining charter, there's a lot of talk around it. A lot of companies want certainty, regulatory certainty. How likely, I mean, the minister's promising by the end of June maybe he might wrap this thing up. How likely do you think that is?
Well, I think the minister's heart is at a good place. He's well intent to find solutions. Remember, this matter was in court, and as he came in, it says to the parties involved, take it out, let's find solutions, because we're South Africans, we negotiate. But let's be realistic. Employers would have taken that matter to court because they wanted to keep a hold on what they are enjoying. Their failure to implement the mining charter over the past 10 years or more has been beneficial to them. There are issues there. So it's going to be a difficult one, not an easy one for the parties involved. We're watching as Cosatu that space very closely. I know he's engaging with labor, he's engaging with the mining houses. It's not an easy task.
Not easy at all. I mean, what he said 30% is going to be, that's not in dispute, black ownership of the mines. But also, one thing was interesting on this once empowered, always empowered angle, he was hinting that there was a deal been struck with the mining companies that if a black shareholder is elbowed out through no fault of his own, then the mining company will be forced to replace that black ownership. But if the person sells out, then maybe once empowered, always empowered may count. What do you think of that idea?
I don't think people should put a gun on our heads about this matter. The mining houses must understand that the once empowered, always empowered principle cannot work anymore. This thing of just recycling the same has really eroded what we wanted to do in terms of the transformation. They should accept that. Let's get people in there, whether you are elbowed or not elbowed. The duty of the incubating mine is to grow that black person that comes in there, give capacity, check whether you are able to do it, and give capacity for them to do it. They started at that range many years ago.
You as unions, if you're not happy with what's come, the amendments to the mining charter, I mean, how likely is it that you could maybe strike over it?
Look, when this matter was taken by the Chamber of Mines to court, we had a situation where the former minister had pushed it. We were quite excited by that. However, the mine bosses were not happy. They decided to go to court. We were saying to ourselves, we're going to push this matter, even if it means we must go to the streets and invite South Africans to be with us in pushing this matter, because it matters most. But when the new minister came in and said, this is the approach he's following, we've welcomed that. And we're watching that space very closely to see how they are doing. You know, there are issues there. A few weeks ago, we were occupying the offices of the CEO of the Chamber of Mines. Fortunately for him, he was not there, but we handed over that memorandum in his office to make a point. We are really keen on these matters to be resolved, but this one is very key for South Africa's development.
And speaking about South Africa's economic development, what are your feelings about the minimum wage? I mean, I know certain groupings have protested already. People have been holding up 20 rand notes saying we don't want this an hourly rate. What do you think?
Look, Cosatu has been at the center with the other social partners on the negotiations for this national minimum wage. Of course, our demand was at least a minimum of 4,500 when we started negotiating, because we had tested that through the researches around the minimum living levels. It's around at that point, at that time, that's 3 years ago. It's changed this time. However, in the process of negotiations, giving and taking, a lot of issues would have been factored into. We reached what we had as a level of 3.5 for a 40 hour per week, 45, 3.9, so 20 rands an hour. As a beginning, it's an opening bid. This is not the alpha and omega. It's not a living wage. It's going to be open to further evaluations and engagements. And now people treat it as if this was the final and we couldn't do. So Cosatu stands there, but it's a government initiative that is there, which we support. We're participating in the parliamentary process. Now, there are friends who are opposed to it, and we're not insensitive to the issues they are raising. But I think they are missing the point to argue that this is an insult, it is not a living wage, it is not enough to change course. We have looked at it differently. We're not looking for a living wage on this one. We're looking for a minimum level from which employers should be able to pay, and it would cover over 6 million people at the moment who are nowhere closer to the 3.5.
Another issue that's been raised on this very program is that we spoke to a lot of young people recently, and we got the idea that there's no longer the passion for the unions. I mean, even the question was raised, are the unions dying? I mean, what do you say as the head of Cosatu? I mean, a lot of young middle-class people growing up, they say, we don't even think about them anymore.
We must educate our young people, Mr. Bishop. We must, both black and white, we must educate them. Unions are what they need in the future going forward. Otherwise, they will be wiped out by rogue employers who would respect no law, even if there is a law in this country. So they need that. That's the starting point. It's a fact that in South Africa and in the globe over, my trade unionism interest has been declining because of the aging populations, because of the incoming of our youth who are now occupying the biggest space of the workplace, because of a range of challenges. The value chain, which has been changing, has been depleting our unions. The workplace you have here today could be belonging to different organizations or employers, but we're in one building. That has depleted the value chain. It's no more one employer for all of us. Different employers. So that's a fact. In South Africa, we're standing at 27 or 26% unionization of this country. So you have over 74% who are working and they don't belong to a union. Others because employers really would fire them when they do so. Others, the law doesn't allow them to do so. But it's a fact. Let's change that. Unions must make their presence worth for the worker in this country. And I think that's the challenge facing all of us.
And speaking about unions and former union bosses, yes. It's 100 days next week since the taking over of the head of state of Sir Ramaphosa, founder member of the National Union of Mine Workers, the biggest union in Africa. From a Labour point of view, from the union's point of view, what do you think of his performance so far?
Look, the very fact that he rose from the ranks of Labour to be the leader of the ANC both as the SG and the Deputy President and now the President of the ANC and now the head of state, itself alone is highly commendable that a man could grow like that in front of all of us. And it's going to be 100 days from a very, very difficult conference of the ANC, from the transition period, which was very political and very difficult for everybody involved, to have tilted the boat to this day. That's something that is very, very critical. We've seen the moves he has made. It has brought some new hopes for a range of society in our country. What is the challenge is has to deal with now is to translate that positive mood, that new dawn he talks about, into practical, tangible evidence that there is change that is going to be happening to all of us in this country under his leadership. And we will be supporting him, obviously, as we continue to work on that one.
And what else do you think he should be doing? I mean, he's made a lot of moves already with his cabinet, with people he's put in charge in certain places. He's laid down the law in certain areas, but what do you think he should be doing?
Look, there would be two levels, because he's head of state, but he leads a political party which is not so healthy at the moment, and the alliance that is not so healthy. Yes, he came up with a pilgrimage, went all over, but I've criticized him to say, you've gone all over, but we have not come to the alliance. You have not come to Cosatu. You have not come to the SACP, Sanko, to say, guys, what do you think? Are we doing okay? Can we do it? What do you think? That's very, very important. December, we were now closing the 5th month in 2018 with no such a meeting. I think he must fix that. 2, he must unite his organization. Get out of the 2 contending or 3 contending factions. Emerge that leader that says, all of us, I'm the president, and you are going to help me to unite all of you. These are the things that we must focus on, and get everybody focusing on. There's an election coming, so there's no time. That's the challenge he's facing. In government, again, because he came in the way he came in, the robustness of it, it has also inherently unreckled certain quarters of government. And I can see that he's working hard to put things together. There you go to ESCOM, SAA, you go to DINEL and a range of other areas in government. He's doing that. But the leader of his stature would have to do that with the broad support of the leadership there in government.
Do you think, just very lastly, very briefly, do you think, how long do you think he's got to really make big changes before maybe it's the political winds turned against him?
Look, Mr. Bishop, there can be no one remedy or quick fix to that type of a situation. It depends on the type of a leader, depends on the support that leader is getting to do those things, the vision he has, and how clear he is on what he wants to do. And I think he has been quite good on those ones, where he says this is not right. But as you send the message as a leader, you then must go back and say, how far are they behind me? Because they may be way back and you are moving along. Be careful, close that space. Others will change sooner, others will take a long time to change. A leader must always remember that.
Thank you very much indeed for your insights. That's Sdumo Dlamini, the president of Cosatu, the Labour Umbrella Federation of South Africa. Well, that's all from us today. We'll be back on Tuesday, 6:30 CAT. From me, Chris Bishop, have a great evening.